What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets Radio. Hope everybody's having an excellent weekend. Training camp is less than 2 weeks away, which is tremendous. We'll be going to a lot of the open practices. If you want to join us, we'll post information on our videos, especially the scrimmage, which we'll tailgate before. Thank you to everybody for watching our videos and our live streams. We even did our first film breakdown, which is, we're evolving as a YouTube channel, minus the professionalism. A recent article that caught my attention. Obviously, everybody's going to release their preseason rankings and predictions, but the one that's fascinating is the head coach, general manager combination and how they rank in the NFL. And it made me think about, where Joe Douglas started and where he is now. I mean, when he was first hired by Adam Gase and the Jets, he inherited bad contracts, a bad roster, and a bad head coach. And he had to overcome so many obstacles to try to put together a roster, including probably the power struggles with Gase. So finally, piece by piece, he tries to, get players. His first year was a joke because he's hired after the draft and after his free agency, which is so friggin' stupid. So last year's draft class is still a complete unknown. You give him credit for Becton, who has a Pro Bowl level talent, but the rest of the guys were banged up, injured, and probably poorly coached. No preseason games, not a lot of practice reps during training camp or the season, and it's just there are a lot of unknowns. I mean, you want to have high expectations for Mims, you want to have high expectations for Ashton Davis, but you'll learn a lot more about all these guys this year. So in terms of free agency, Joe Douglas has been I won't say frugal, but very smart. He gave out good contracts, especially this year where he's signing players on the rise, hardworking players, leaders, football junkies, and that's exactly what you want. He didn't overpay for anybody, and that's crucial, especially when you're a rebuilding team. Well, I think when you're one or two players away from the playoffs or making a legitimate run, you spend differently. Right now, it's all about getting quantity over quality. You just got to get your building blocks, be wise, and then he has cap flexibility next year and down the line. So in terms of contracts and how he's handled things, I liked it. He slow plates a lot of things. He got a Morgan Moses. When a lot of fans wanted him to splurge and be aggressive, he kind of waited it out and got the value he wanted. He restructured Jamison Crowder, which made a lot of sense. So in terms of financials, I think he's done a pretty good job. The Marcus May thing has raised a lot of arguments, but I think, for me personally, I don't think Marcus May is a $12, $13, $14 million a year player, especially in a rebuilding team. I mean, I think it's just he's probably getting his exact value on the franchise tag. In terms of the draft, like I said, last year's class, we don't know. This year's class, we're learning what his type of player is. To play like a Jet guy is, a football junkie, mentor, leader, a team guy, team first guy, all about, a unified front with the locker room. And that's going to pay huge dividends where you want that chemistry. Like the chemistry in football is so damn important. If he becomes divided, which we've seen in the past when the Jets locker room exploded, it blows up everything. So you got the draft. He's getting solid grades, the way he maneuvered around, the way he makes trades. I mean, he got a tremendous value for Jamal Adams. At the time, he got very good value for Leonard Williams. The Sam Darnold thing, I think he handled appropriately. He got more value than I thought he would in a very difficult situation. The fact that he moved on from Sam Darnold, I give him credit for as well, where you kind of see the writing on the wall, especially when you're trying to rebuild and start over. I give him credit for Robert Saleh, where we talked about this numerous times in the past, but he went outside the box. He did a comprehensive search. Many people thought he was going to go for Wink Martindale or, coach from the Eagles, and he didn't. So there's a lot of very good things. And I think the most important thing is it's a very respected front office where it's like there's football guys making football decisions, excellent scouts, excellent process. They're thorough. The whole Zach Wilson analysis of how they had each coach and each scout provide their own evaluation without being like a group think. It paid big dividends for me as well, where it's like, as an organization, you all meet together and say, listen, we all agree that this is the guy that we want, and we can all move on and we can go forward with him. So I think Joe Douglas has done a really, really solid job, especially where he's been. And this organization was a mess. It was probably one of the worst rosters in the NFL. And you look forward now to where we are. The roster is much improved. The wide receiver group, vastly improved. The offensive line, I think, to where it was, to where it is now. If you have Becton, Vera Tucker, if you can get Morgan Moses to play at a high level and then keep him, I mean, that's a lot of building blocks, man. Even Connor McGovern, who I've been hard on, if he could play at a solid level, I mean, this is what you need. This is how you build your offense. This is how you build your team. Your lines are your foundation. Expect your offensive and defensive line. The defensive line is obviously a strength. The offensive line is getting much better. And then, like I said, the wide receivers are better. The only question mark you have is the secondary, but you can't rebuild everything overnight. So overall, I think I like the rankings of Joe Douglas. I think are fair, and there's a lot of incompletes because you want to see what last year's players are, and then the hiring of Saleh. I think we did a video a couple of weeks ago about the one guy ranked him as one of the worst coaches, one of the worst new coaches hires, and compared it to the roster that he has. And then Sports Illustrated yesterday had him ranked number 2. And I think the one thing about Saleh is he hired a lot of very inspiring, creative coaching staff. He guys that are young, motivated, innovative, respected. The players all like them. You know, Mike LaFleur is obviously a guy that everybody likes. They made a lot of mentions about the offensive line coach, the defensive staff, and it's almost mimics the kind of players they have. The Jets have a very young roster, but they have a lot of young coaches that are that have a lot to prove. And I think that's very exciting. They also, as an organization, have hired a lot of, a pass game coordinator, a run game coordinator, a quarterbacks coach. They're putting a lot of attention to detail. They're leaving no stone unturned. As an organization under Joe Douglas, they're putting a premium on sports science, nutrition, conditioning, the weight program. Like they're becoming a top-level organization in terms of just off-the-field preparation and just giving this team and these players the best chance to succeed. Now, will that pay off down the line? I don't know, but it's hard to not be impressed. Now, where you rank Coach Saleh, I have honestly no idea. Obviously, you like what he's done, but you got to see what happens once the bright lights come on and the pads start popping. But as an organization, you got to feel good about where they're headed. Like the rankings are, I like that they ranked Saleh number 2. I think Joe Douglas is a general manager on the rise. He can be aggressive when he wants to. He has a lot of flexibility to do that. And most importantly, the ownership's letting him do what he wants to do. In years past, you worried about, Woody Johnson or Chris Johnson stepping in. They haven't done that. They kind of said, listen, you guys do it, and we're going to support you, and let's let the results play out. So I like all the things that are going on here. I think that as a Jets fan, you feel like the team's finally in good hands. They feel confident. They feel well-structured. They feel like they have a blueprint and a process they're trying to follow. They're not like I said, as fans, we always want instant gratification. We start getting greedy. We want more, we want more, we want more. But where we are, say 2 years ago before Joe Douglas got hired and where we are now it's like night and day. It seriously is. And they look at where we were with Adam Gase and all the whatever that was, and to the respect and just the process that Robert Saleh is trying to implement is so much better. So now you go in the training camp and you want to see, okay, how do they run it? What's their level of intensity? How do the players react to it? How do they handle injuries? How do they handle reps to the quarterback? Once if somebody struggles or once the competition heats up, who plays? Say a Cam Clark comes in and starts laying things up, do the Jets say, you know what, Van Roten, I'm sorry, you're not going to start? What young corners emerge? That's when things get really, really interesting. Also, when prominent players get cut throughout training camp, do the Jets go out and make an aggressive move? What happens with Nick Foles if he becomes available? All these different things I'm fascinated by to see how the team handles it. But I'm completely encouraged. I can't wait to get to camp and check it out. And that's it. I'm not really sure this video made sense. I'm just kind of reacting to the general manager, head coach, combo. I think for the first time in a long time, I feel very confident. Now, I will say that initially I felt confident with Maccagnan and Bowles, but I think as the season started to play out, you started to become really concerned, or their tenure started to play out. You're like, you know what, this isn't going to work, especially with Maccagnan. Like, I was on him pretty early, and then now it's like with Joe Douglas kind of finding his way, how he handles business and the things he's done, and the reactions they're getting throughout the league, too. It's like when you have people like Gil Brandt and prominent people that are giving the Jets a lot of credit for the way they're handling business, going up and getting a Vera Tucker, it's more encouraging. Like, we haven't gotten this much positive feedback in a long time in terms of the organization. So, exciting times. I'm not going to really get into like record predictions about, the season predictions, stuff like that. Honestly, I still think this team's a 6-7 win team. I'll love to see them surprise people and get 9 wins, but I'm expecting a very competitive team, a very focused team. And I expect a lot out of both sides of football, to be honest with you. I mean, I know they were terrible last year, but there's no reason why this team, with the talent they have, can't be competitive week in and week out. And that's it. So we'll talk to you guys, what's today, Sunday, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and I'll talk to you later.